And I was going to take the high road and just say thank you and leave.
Don't take the high road, Paul.
But I have something to say to you! I've waited a long time to say this! I almost forgot about you!
Yeah, outside interference here. In my moment of glory. Yeah, no, I'm living in a nightmare. And I am the cream.
One more time for old time's sake! Right there so the whole world can see us!
Hey, there it is. And welcome to another edition of Oh No Wrestling.
Yes.
I'm pretty goddamn excited about this whole thing that we're doing here, Duncan.
Yeah, I am too. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like we got Paul Heyman screaming at us on our intro. I feel like we got a belt on our logo. You know, like what more do we need? Our faces are on the emblems on the WWE belt. Like
all we need is that belt to really exist.
Yeah, well, I'm getting around to that. Okay,
I know. We're on it. It's on the list.
It definitely is. Speaking of the list, it's incredible. This has been a tremendous week for pro wrestling. There's been so much going on that it's almost hard to keep track of.
And I don't think we're going to have time to talk about all of it.
We can't. I mean, like, there's stuff that we probably won't even be able to touch as far as, like, the CWC and NXT. Like,
well, I mean, the show would be 9 hours long every week, and we have jobs.
Well, I mean, for now.
Well, for now.
And
yeah,
until this makes us millionaires and then we can just do this. I mean, at that point, yeah,
well, obviously.
At that point, I mean, we're going to have a donate button soon so like people can start donating money to us. And once that happens, then, then we can talk for 9 hours about NXT
right.
and
then
CWC.
We can start like an Oh No Wrestling Patreon campaign or something like that. And
I think we should actually. Like, Patreon should be at the top of our list as far as starting this thing out. But I guess honestly, when it comes to the week's events, we have to start. We haven't talked since Battleground, man.
No, we got to start at the beginning of the week.
Start at the beginning, and I think we do in future. We want all of you listening. I want you to understand that like we're not gonna always be doing this on the weekend, like way later. We plan on actually doing this on like a Tuesday night, like right after Smackdown airs.
Absolutely.
So that you can have either like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so that you can have something real fresh that's what everybody's talking about and what everybody's excited about right after it happens. And for now, we're just, again, this is all still in beta. Oh No Wrestling is still very much we're trying to find our feet and find our legs, but what am I trying to say? Find our feet, find our legs. What's the
find our sea legs?
Is that it? Is that what I'm going?
I mean,
with?
this is another shit ship, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's shit ship 2, I think, is what it is. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this won't always be the case, and hopefully we'll be getting content out to you sooner after it immediately happens, such as this pay-per-view with Battleground and Raw and SmackDown. So,
well, I mean, and especially something I just thought of when I go to Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown in October, we could do live reaction shows immediately.
I definitely think we need to do that. I've been sending this around. I've sent the first episode around to a lot of my wrestling buddies just to kind of get like a general sense, like, all right, is this complete shit? Do you like it or don't you like it? And one of the things that they think that is a general consensus is that we should probably be doing broadcasting live audio commentary on the pay-per-views. And
I'm in.
I don't think we can like pull it together to do that every week for Raw and SmackDown, but once a month, if we can do like a live podcast where we're both watching, the channel, and we're both watching the network essentially, and we add our own, spin on exactly what's going on. I think people might like that.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
So, speaking of pay-per-views, then let's start right. Let's go to it. Let's talk about Battleground. We need to do it.
Yeah, we need to just get it out of the way.
We do.
All right, so were you surprised when they opened with the women's championship or with the women's tag team match?
Was that the first match?
That was the opening match of Battleground.
Oh, it was Charlotte, Dana Brooke,
Charlotte and Dana versus Sasha and a mystery
and
opponent.
the mystery opponent, which I think all of us thought it was going to be Nikki Bella, right? Like all of us.
No,
I had it in my head. I'm like, no, they're going to fuck us again. It's going to be some bullshit. It's going to be Nikki Bella, and we're.
I know that's what you were thinking, but I was like, nah, it's going to be Bailey. Going to be Bailey.
And I wanted it to be, and lo and behold, holy shit, they finally fucking did it. They finally.
Dude, when
pulled the
I
plug.
heard that riff of her music, like that
little jangly guitar thing that
come
happens.
on.
I marked. I'm not gonna lie.
so
I
hard.
was so happy for her and for just all the fans. Honestly, I was happy that it felt like hey, oh my god, they listened. They listened to us. They listened to us. Like holy shit, we finally got a piece of something in the show that we love. No. What an awesome match, honestly. Like it was a really
great
good match, even with Dana Brooke involved.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Dana can work. I don't like her, and I don't know if that's the gimmick working or if I just don't like her.
I think it's a bit of both.
Oh, I'm sure it's a bit of both. So yeah, but that was a great match.
Here's the thing about that whole match. The one crazy part is they could have easily had Dana Brooke be the one tapping out to Sasha, but they had the women's champion Charlotte
right
to Sasha. And it's the bank statement, and then it's what's the other move? Like it's isn't it
the backstabber into
the backstabber into the bank statement? So yeah, like.
Well, and what was funny when I saw that happen, I was like, okay, that's going to set up a championship match for SummerSlam. We'll get to that.
Naturally, like it makes sense.
Yeah. Something we both commented on is that Big E needs to stop jumping out of the ring like that.
Good God. Oh, yeah. What was that match? That was the
Wyatts,
New
Day and the Wyatts.
Which, again, that was a really, really good match. Like
really good match. Bray Wyatt got a win.
Dude, and overall, like it was a clean win, number one, which is huge. But Battleground is a card. It looked okay, but the execution of Battleground was like WrestleMania or SummerSlam pedigree. Like,
it was really good.
They
did a really good job with it.
I'm super. I think we're both super
also,
excited about it.
What I gotta say is the storytelling in the New Day Wyatts match, especially by Xavier, was just phenomenal.
That dude needs a belt of some description. Like I love the New Day. You know that I love the New Day. I think we both do. I almost feel that group needs to be broken up because Kofi's on his way out. We all know that. But Big E and Xavier are such supreme talents that at this point they're almost being hindered by the New Day.
Here's my thoughts on that. I agree with you. And also, I think that if you do a New Day split, Kofi goes away, let Big E and Xavier do their thing for a while, kind of shine on their own, you always have the New Day reunion that people will know is coming.
Which makes it so much more exciting, too, when it finally happens.
You can literally bring whoever you want to. Like, they want to bring Sasha Banks into the New Day. That's the prime way you do it in, like, a year or two. You know,
totally. You brought up the fact that New Day was against the Wyatts and Bray actually was made to look strong, which doesn't happen a lot these days.
Well, which hasn't happened in a few years.
And I think they needed that, and I think it was I would think it was smart booking. I think it was good overall to have Bray look as strong as he did. Outside of that, I would say the one thing that I wanted to happen that didn't happen was, oh man, I just want Xavier to go Wyatt. I just want him to.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God, it would be so cool. And he's been teasing us by growing out his shitty little beard. Know, he's like that's part of the thought process, right? It has to be.
I would think.
It gets a little subtle, fucking trolling.
Yes, if he is smart with his character, which he is because he understands pro wrestling.
Well, he's a goddamn fucking Harvard law graduate. You would expect.
Yeah, Xavier Woods, PhD. Yeah. So, he literally would be doing that because it's to show the kind of the tornness of the character, if that makes sense.
No, you're absolutely right, and I really, really like the direction they're going. It's kind of sad that they're sort of splitting up the ability for that to happen, being, you know, that Bray's on SmackDown and the New Day's on, you know, Raw. I still feel like we haven't seen the end of that.
Oh,
yet.
no,
like that's it was almost a teaser for something that might come later down the road, which
And I think that
I'm going to
that's
be super excited for.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you.
We have to then talk about, okay, we had Rusev versus fucking Zack Ryder. Okay, Mojo showed up. Rusev basically it was just like, who are you? Go away, you know, hype man or whatever the fuck you are.
Oh man,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big fan of Mojo. I'm not a big fan. I can respect, like, the dude can probably work. I haven't watched a hell of a lot of his matches, but the gimmick is just, it doesn't do it for me. And when you're one of those Gronk guys and you go on a Gronk cruise, like, come on.
And dude, apparently that dude is really like that. Like, he is really amped at 11 all the time.
I feel like instead of, and what the intended thing is, I think that Zack Ryder is supposed to help introduce Mojo and make him look good. Instead, it has the opposite effect. Like, Mojo's here, and he's now gonna make Zack Ryder look shitty,
Look really bad.
You know, like, and that's my biggest fear, because I like Zack Ryder. I think Zack's a great talent, and I think he's underused potential.
Oh, for sure. And I think if we give it time, we'll just see how it evolves. And honestly, like, maybe if the whole, like, because once again, like, a lot of NXT gimmicks, it takes them a while to get over on the main roster.
Yeah, it does. It does. That's my biggest fear. What I've said from the beginning with Nakamura, like, that he'll be underutilized, or just put in a role where they, you know, that maybe the main roster doesn't know how
they used
use
Finn day one.
Well, fuck, we'll get to that. Give it a minute, bro. Don't blow your load.
What I'm saying is, like, don't worry.
No, that's actually, like, the biggest compliment you could give to Nakamura in a weird way, you know, like, or the possibility of Nakamura being great in the future, or them utilizing it well, was just how they handled the Finn thing. And like I said, we'll get to that. We just need to get through Battleground first, man.
Yeah. No, I know. So, speaking of our favorite former indie wrestlers, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Holy
Jesus
shit.
Christ, what a match.
God damn, that match was great.
That is I'm going back and forth between that match and the Nakamura Sami Zayn match for match of the year.
Match of the year.
Like, they are both definitely on the list and in the top, you know, 5 for sure. How good does Sami Zayn feel knowing he's got 2 match of the year candidates, like, in the bag almost?
Right.
Like, I'm not trust me. Okay. I respect Sami Zayn. I love watching him in the ring. Sami Zayn, to me, is not the most interesting wrestler that's come across our tables or desks in the last few years. Like, I feel like there's a bit of a milk toast to him. I think he's almost a little too baby. I think he, a
little too vanilla.
Yeah, a little too vanilla. Like, trust me, I like him, but I don't know that he's got everything that it takes. And then you see him in the ring like that, and then you see him just over excelling what a guy like that should look, what a guy like that looks like that should be doing. And by that same token, fucking Kevin Owens. Now, I mean, we're beating a dead horse with him because
so many times.
Yeah.
Dude, and also, I think in Sami Zayn, they see their new Daniel Bryan.
I can see that. He's kind of he's got a bit of an alt vibe to him. He's the darling indie wrestler that the underdog But in comparison, you could say almost the same exact story with Kevin Owens.
Right.
But Kevin Owens is so good at what he does behind the mic and so good at portraying his character as a dickhead.
Yeah, he's such a prick, and I love to watch
and I
it.
love everything about it. Like, he's the most interesting thing about most shows. When he said it was KO Mania,
he was
right. Like, every time that dude is on my TV screen, it's everything stops, or I can be texting you. We always do, we watch Raw together almost from miles away, and we
have
text each
text
other.
Commentary, which we should honestly do
tone down a
separately.
little bit. Yeah, exactly. But when we'll bullshit, especially when there's a women's match on, or when there's a Zack Ryder match on, for instance, or whatever, like,
or some sort of
when
dumb
Tyler
promo,
Breeze and Fandango pop up.
Yeah,
I know it's
when Breezango's on.
I feel like it's probably a good time for me to text you. During that, though, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, when Kevin Owens is on, you'll notice I don't say a fucking word.
We don't say
a
shit.
word, and that's just a testament to how good that guy is, both in the ring and on the mic.
The dude captivates you, like, even when he was on commentary.
Oh, he's
like,
so
dude,
good on commentary.
My favorite thing on the internet is the gif of him with his feet up on the commentary desk wearing Michael's hat. Wearing JBL's hat.
JBL's hat, yes.
So
and JBL
good.
wasn't even mad about it. Like, he was
exactly.
He looks good in my hat. Like, I think there was an actual quote. He's so good. I'm in love.
He's so good. And that match was so good. And the end of that match, like they built it, and then the finish was amazing. Like, it was emotional. It was, it was everything pro wrestling.
It was everything it's supposed to be. It kept me on the edge of the seat of edge of my chair throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
And you just even the last 1, 2, 3. You still didn't know who was going to win it. And that's
right.
It took you on that roller coaster of emotion that, like you just said, is what wrestling should and makes wrestling great, Like, it's what it should be and makes it great.
Exactly.
And how the fuck do we love a guy that's in such terrible shape with such awful chicken skin underneath his arms?
Dude, Kevin, watching him is like watching me.
And we can feasibly see him as being a world champion.
Right.
Like, we can, like, that is, it's bizarre. It's kind of, I think, a sign of the new era, if you want to go with WWE terms. But the fact that it's possible for a guy like that now to become, a champion, to become the face of a company, in a sense.
Absolutely.
Whereas I don't think that would have happened 10 years ago, man. Like, there's no way Kevin Owens is getting up there 10 years ago.
Dude, it barely happened 5 years ago.
And that's, I got to give WWE credit. Like, maybe Vince has actually, like, woken up a little bit and is
I think we got to give a lot of credit to Triple H.
You think that's who it is? You think that's where
I think
that's
a big part of it, because Triple H pushes a lot of these guys that Vince wouldn't necessarily push, but Vince trusts Triple H.
And you know what? I have a lot of respect for that, because obviously it's not exactly like Triple H is a small dude. Like, he fits in with the old guard. Like, he fits in with the dudes from the past, not necessarily these young Daniel Bryan types, we'll just call him.
Definitely not. Yeah, he's not part of the new era by any stretch.
But all right, I'll give him a lot of credit for the fact that, he's actually the one, you think, putting that out there, and I'm sure he's got to be influential in that whole process.
Yeah.
Moving on a little bit, and it, I think, was the highlight of my whole night from Battleground.
Was Natalya and Becky?
Clearly,
all right.
Clearly the best match of the night.
It was so good, we're gonna skip right by it.
I was spellbounded. I was over. Oh my god! I had not. It wasn't a bad women's wrestling match.
No.
It's just how many times I have to see these two fucking fight in the same feud with no. It's just nothing. Like, it's just boring. Like, there's no. Okay, cool. Natalya wins, and
yep,
whatever. Cool submission. Whatever. So it is what it is. We can move on from it. I'm glad that Becky won the next night on Raw. Right? She won the same match basically. I know we're jumping ahead, but I think she did. I think that's exactly what happened.
I know she did win the next time that they had a match.
Yeah, exactly. So. But either way, we're all kind of like just all Z's on that one, I think.
Yep.
Then what I was really getting to, Duncan, highlight of my night, the Darren Young versus Miz match. Now, Now the match started out slow, and then
No. Stop. The match itself is not why you liked it.
No, it's not at all. I liked it.
No. And for the life of me, I'm just like, why the fuck do you want to talk about this?
Because of the finish. Because it was so fucked up that they didn't even know what they went. No one in or around that ring knew what the fuck was happening.
I still don't know what happened.
I still don't know what happened, really. All I know is that Bob Backlund is so old that he can't even take off his shirt now.
It looks like he's missing a tooth.
And he was actually trying to take off that shirt the whole time. He just couldn't get the suspenders got in the way, or the cups were too tight. He was trying to get the shirt off.
How did he rip it from the back?
And because he was even trying to give Darren Young hugs and stuff. The shirt was on, and he was trying to awkwardly, and he even changed his body movement because he knew the shirt was weird and on. He didn't do the hug in the way. Oh, finish was. God. What an abomination of everything.
Right.
It's now that's the reason you shouldn't watch wrestling is that match.
Well, I mean not the match, the finish. The
match was okay. It was a little dull. Like I've told you about the Miz, my opinions on him before. I think his matches are good. I think he's a solid worker. I just find his movements a little dull. I think it's again kind of a little vanilla. Is a good way to put it.
What was not vanilla was his entrance.
His entrance, okay. That is not PG content, Duncan. This is not the PG era when you're walking out with sex masks on. I'm sorry.
Dude, I know.
Maybe, of course, the kids don't get it. But we do.
No, because we've seen Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut.
His Eyes Wide Shit is what that whole thing
Eyes Wide Shit.
Stole your line.
It should have said, what the Eyes Wide Shit?
I liked that JBL or someone even referenced it too. Someone even said it. They pointed it out. And it's okay, we're going down. That's what we're doing right now. All right.
Yeah, because so now those kids are going to hop on Google and they're going to look up.
Why was the Miz wearing weird crow mask things or whatever? I don't even know what you'd call them.
Sex masks.
I mean, I call them sex masks, but if you're not going to call them a sex mask, I guess they're kind of bird mask. They're bird masks? They're birdish. Yeah. They're birdie.
I think you can.
They're Victorian. Doesn't it come from Renaissance or Victorian? No, it's Victorian times or something.
It's jerk-offery. I don't know.
Well, either way, ridiculous entrance, ridiculous finish.
And making Darren Young great again is kind of off to a little bit of a rocky start.
Yeah, you know what? They had a week there where this might actually pan out.
Dude, the Battle Royal.
Yeah. That actually kind of worked, as stupid as that was, and we all kind of hated the fact that Darren Young sat there and didn't really do anything, and he won the match. That's what wrestling is, and it's what kind of, that's kind of cool for storylines. We were on the up and up at that point, and then this match happened, and to me it feels oh, wow, how to, pull and deflate every sort of momentum that you had moving forward. Darren Young is not feeling very great again.
No. And he shouldn't be because that was not very.
Do we know what the end result of the match was? Was it a double count out or?
I don't even know
because it was all around a disqualification, but on auxiliary people around the match, which never should. If okay, me and you are having a match, and Ty from the Ono Radio Show comes in
puking,
pukes on me. When I'm outside of the ring and I punch him, I shouldn't get disqualified against you. I punched a guy from the outside.
No, technically he would get disqualified for vomiting.
It'd be the other way around.
Vomiting on you.
So the whole logic was really mixed up because it was, I think, what happened? Maurice was trying to pretend that Bob Backlund hit her,
let's be honest.
And then the Miz got in, and then he pushed Bob Backlund,
I don't know.
I think that's one of those things that we're just going to have to write off. Is that
okay? That was
fair.
Exactly why I just question mark. I don't know.
Then we had John Cena, Enzo and Cass versus the Club.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, really good match. It was.
Well, I mean, not really
no,
surprisingly.
I shouldn't have said that. The way it was a lot better of a match than I think they could. I think they could have made that a really quick, dumb match, and they didn't. They actually gave them time, and I think it made the Club, thankfully, look good, which they've not been doing a real great job of doing.
That's true. They hadn't been doing a very good job of making the Club look strong at all.
So I don't know. Overall, it was cool. I love watching John Cena's face when Enzo is doing a promo on no matter what it is.
It was so
because
good.
he's just delighted. As we all are with Enzo. Whenever he comes out, it's amazing to watch Enzo and Cass, do what they do, especially Enzo. But
in Cass,
John Cena's like a little
so much
kid.
better.
He's like a little kid when he's watching him. He's all gums, man.
I know, he's so into it.
And think about how amazing that must feel for two guys that were, less than a year ago were on NXT, working in Orlando, and
dude, a year ago Enzo was still good, but Cass on the mic was just atrocious.
And even when that first step up, when he had to do it, when Cass broke his neck, when Enzo
broke his neck, yeah.
He was nervous as fuck the first couple nights, but I think it did wonders for him long term. And you're seeing it now. You're seeing a sense of confidence, like, oh, I can do this. I can do this.
Absolutely.
I really like Cass. I think Vince likes Cass. I think the company
Vince likes Cass.
Well, of course, he's a big dude. He likes big dudes, but he's also a marketable big dude. And even though he wasn't great on the mic at first, he's getting better, and he has a sense of charisma. He's got a playful nature to him that's almost akin to The Rock, in my opinion.
Right.
He's got a bit of a Rocky vibe. And I know that's a weird stretch, but think about it. All of you out there.
I mean, he's got that charisma, and he's good at coming up with stuff. And if he's not coming up with it off the top of his head, he's really good at making me think that he's coming up with it off the top of his head.
And he's better with Enzo, but I think he can hang without him. I was sort of expecting for him them to get separated in the draft.
Yeah, I was anticipating that as well, but I think they know that they can ride that out a little bit
It's
longer.
too much of a moneymaker, man. Those certified G shirts. I mean, let's keep that money train coming. By the way, I need to order one
jersey.
of those. I need to order one of those.
I want the jersey.
Oh, see, I love the jersey, but I don't think I could wear it. It's Florida, man. It's too hot.
Oh, no, you can't wear them in Florida.
Nah.
I can wear them out here, but you can't wear them there.
So, what ended up happening in that match again on the John Cena Enzo Club match? They won. I mean, the faces won, obviously. John.
Well, yeah, but it was the second rope AA.
That's it. Okay, yeah. Oh, and shit, that's the one where AJ bounced like a motherfucker on his shoulder. How? Yeah, that was kind of nasty looking.
Oh, it was pretty gnarly, but it was if those two, I could watch those two fight forever, just like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owen.
And it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm sure that match is coming at SummerSlam, right?
Oh, it's coming at SummerSlam.
The rubber match.
Wait, are they? No, they're both on SmackDown, so yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, it might even not be at SummerSlam. They might even wait for that for
Battleground.
No, what is it? Is it
Backlash?
Backlash. Moving on. We got to get to the main event. We have to talk about this, and then we can probably kind of speed things up a little bit because once we've got to this point, we can start talking about the future of how things are shaping up, which is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But the main event, the triple threat, the Shield at the match. I think a lot of people have
Shield triple threat.
It actually happened, and it was first off, it was an amazing match.
It was really good triple threat.
I'm not a big Roman Reigns fan. I don't really hide it, and for a long time, I used to say, "Oh, that motherfucker can't wrestle." Now,
right,
I have to swallow my words on that. I really, really do. That motherfucker can wrestle. As much as I don't like him, and I think there's plenty of better wrestlers out there,
And plenty of people that don't like him as well.
he can fucking wrestle, dude. And
He's got that pro wrestling style. Like, he's got his own style.
his
It's a very
razor edge
familiar
powerbomb
style.
is baller.
Dude.
It's baller.
Yeah.
And if you don't like that, then you don't like wrestling, as far as I'm concerned.
And the thing,
fuck the Superman punch and the spear. Yeah, those are overplayed and dumb. But when he does actual moves and starts actually wrestling, which they don't let him do a lot, but when he does, he's okay.
They treat him like Goldberg 2.0.
And that sucks. Like
It's like
it does him no credit.
Because they want him to look strong. It's like, the best thing you can do to make him look strong is to just let him fucking wrestle.
Let him be an asshole. Just let him.
Well, yeah.
Just let him do it. Like, we have to turn Roman heel, right? Like, that's the only solution. Yet, I don't know they're gonna do it.
I don't know.
I don't think they're gonna do it. I think they're playing us all because they think we think that, and that's exactly what the opposite of what they're gonna do.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. Like, they might not push him to the moon anymore, or at least not for a little while.
Yeah, I think they're gonna hold back on making him the face of the company.
You see, okay, so we're going into, like, obviously, this is gonna lead right into Monday Night Raw, but
obviously, yep, I was working there before you, bro.
Right, so Dean Ambrose wins the title, takes the world championship to
SmackDown.
To SmackDown. Roman loses clean.
And that's the thing, dude. Clean as fuck. I mean, yeah, it was 2 finishers, but that was clean.
Well, I mean, and then we move to Monday Night Raw, right? So, like, Roman loses clean at Battleground. Then we go to Raw. Top of the show, they announced that they are going to have a WWE Universal Championship.
Which, do you like the name?
I mean, you know why I don't like the name.
Well, there's obvious reasons why we don't like the name.
Other than that, I think it's
ties
fine.
to a company that shares the name, but
right. But I'm glad that it's not just the World Heavyweight Championship again.
It took me a second. Like, I hated it at first. I hated the notion of it.
The night of, we were like,
I think we're both like ranting and raving about it. But I've given it a little bit more thought, and I definitely don't hate it as much. I think if the belt is cool, they can salvage this. If the belt is cool, this will work, because you can almost do like a galaxy thing on it, like almost like a space belt. Like, it sounds dumb, but
you don't want it to look.
I just don't want it to be
like,
cheesy,
right? And this was why, like, originally when they started doing when they did the draft and the brand split, what I figured was going to happen was the championship would stay on Raw, and then what they would do is they would debut a new belt on SmackDown. And that belt would be very similar to.
I thought it was going to be the exact same belt, but blue.
Yep.
I thought that's the way they were going to go. We're going to have a SmackDown championship, and we're going to have a Raw championship, and one of them's going to be red for Raw, and one of them's going to be blue outline for SmackDown. But
exactly.
I'm really happy they're not going that direction.
I am too. Like, it's. I mean, it just shows that they still know what they're doing, and
well, they got us. This whole, and that brings us to the Raw that we need to be talking about next.
Right.
And honestly, okay, Universal Championship was part of that, but they got us on a lot of levels. Like, they did things. I think we were both talking about it. Like, WWE still got it.
They still know what they're doing.
They still know what they're doing. They hoodwinked us on a couple things that I think we felt both pretty confident in. Like, if we were to bet money about, would be the case, and they kind of got us.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world. I mean, and let's just talk about how they set up 2 really, really good. What were they?
Fatal 4-ways.
Fatal 4-ways that were good matches. The first one was better than the second, definitely.
Oh, totally. But like, you never thought in a million years that, first of all, I didn't think Finn was going to win the first match.
I had a sneaky feeling that he was going to win that match. I was very, very doubtful he was going to win the match against Roman.
Exactly.
That was
and that's exactly what I figured was going to happen. It's like, okay, so we end up
because you kind of like with
Roman.
A new wrestler, it's sort of assumed, right? It's sort of assumed like your first match on a show, you're going to win. Like that's if you're doing odds based on wrestling statistics and history, you're going to go with that.
Exactly.
But for Finn Balor, as a brand new guy, to cleanly pin Roman Reigns on a main event of Raw to go on to then face Seth Rollins for the new championship, that is something that neither one of us would have predicted even a couple weeks ago, let alone months.
Wanted.
Oh, it's what we wanted.
Exactly what we wanted, but we were just like, there is no fucking way that's happening.
No, it seemed like just absolute fantasy.
Yeah, but I mean, that fantasy turned out to be reality. Also, we had a change in the women's championship.
And my God, that was again another really good match. They're the only women that I would yell fight forever for.
I mean, they
need to.
And just wait until like you bring Bayley into this mix.
Oh my God.
And that's the thing is like Becky Lynch is also a fantastic women's wrestler as well. But they just kind of like
she's shuffled. She's been put to the side. Exactly. Like there needs to be the 4 horsewomen, and they need to all have they need to be connected in weird ways, but still have their own rivalries within that.
Exactly.
I think by also when the time comes, when Bayley comes into fruition into the main roster, I think that gives Sasha a chance to go more heel. Because you've then brought up a new
an
respectable
uber babyface.
Uber babyface, which like Becky Lynch, that's what they should just do with Becky. Becky, they've tried to make her a tweener and it doesn't work because she just sucks on the mic. She can't sell any of it, whatever.
Yeah.
So just make her an Uber babyface and have her team with Bayley and then have Sasha go fucking heel and team with Charlotte, and there you go.
Right. Right.
That actually we would watch that, right? We would watch that.
And I'm sure we will watch that when that happens. So weird enough, like what the hell like what the hell is up with all of these jobber squash matches?
Oh dude. Like that came out of nowhere. I mean, I guess that was part of them trying to say like, hey, we're separating the brands and we've got our new things for both shows. Like, okay, so we get jobber matches, squash matches back.
Jobber squash matches and the cruiserweights in a little bit.
It would have been okay had they not, like with the Braun Strowman one in particular, like that
James Ellsworth,
that little dude. Like they were like straight up just like clowning on him. Like they were making fun of his like appearance and like.
Yeah,
I'm like I don't know.
And I don't remember, like, that's not what squash matches used to be.
I don't think
like it used
like
to be
that.
like JR or whomever would be like, well, this guy, he would just make some shit up and try and give him at least a little something instead of being like, well, this kid has no chin and got an offspring tattoo.
I'm okay with it to a degree. I feel like it can definitely
squash match has its place.
It has its place, and I definitely feel like for certain wrestlers, like it's great to help them start. But when you're at Braun Strowman's level, I don't think you need squash matches. Like you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. He's been around for long enough. He shouldn't need a squash match.
Dude, he hasn't had very many matches.
I'm totally with you, but he's had a lot of TV time to at least present an era of power and brutalness, right? Now, with Nia Jax, it made complete sense. Like, the Nia Jax squash match was exactly...
put her over, make her look huge.
Yes,
that's exactly what you
That's
need
exactly
to do.
what it should be, and that's exactly what you should be doing.
Yep.
I think, like, that match... literally was to show off Braun's new haircut. Like, I don't think there's any other reason for that match. because we all know from the moment the match starts, that guy's going to die. Like, he's going to kill you.
He's just going to get mangled.
But Braun still can't wrestle. So
No.
it's really not doing Braun that many favors either. Like, that time would have been better served building his character in a backstage promo rather than it would be, in my opinion, putting him against a jobber. Like, I know you have to do that, but I think Braun has to.
Well,
he's got to develop his character, but he's got to learn to wrestle first.
yeah, he needs to go back to the Performance Center.
He does. He needs to be at the Performance Center, and we need, like, I'll actually take Mojo Riley as a Wyatt family member over fucking Braun Strowman.
He needs hair on his chin, not on his head. The thing about Strowman is before he got recruited into the Wyatt family, he was part of Adam Rose's fucking entourage.
Oh, was it the bunny with the bunny?
He wasn't. He was with the bunny, but yeah,
I didn't
he
know
was
that,
one of the
actually.
Rosebuds.
I didn't know
Yep.
that. What was he dressed as? Was he just like Braun? Like he was just a big dude?
Yeah, he was just Braun in like brighter colors and smiling.
That sounds more interesting than the Braun that I think we see now.
I
agree.
agree.
I think Braun could be great, and I think he has a huge potential. He just needs to learn how to wrestle. Like
right.
Once you get that huge part of the
you can't
factor,
just throw
a
people
weight. Yeah, he's a
around.
weightlifter, right? Like he's a power lifter guy.
He's probably.
I think that's where he comes
that's
from.
what he
His
was.
background was like a power lifter, dude. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Power jerker. I don't know.
What else? What else we got from Raw apart from then? Of course, yes. I mean, we've sort of talked about. We did talk about the Finn thing. But yeah, no. Raw was a great show.
Yeah, Raw was fantastic. Like when Raw was over, I was just like, wait, was that 3 hours already?
No, it went by super, super quick. I was
Yeah.
I was a little bit pissed off that they had to throw a Sheamus at me. Like,
Well,
does he deserve to be in one of those matches? No, come on.
He's a former champion.
I mean, sure. Good to see Neville, though. Good to see Neville back.
Yeah, good that he's back.
I wonder.
Ironically enough, in the same building that he broke his ankle in.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
That same one that
Yep.
wasn't it like a year, almost a year to the date? Like
No, it wasn't a year. It was like
it's not- I
4
guess it's
months
not
he's
that long.
been gone.
That's a quick turnaround.
I mean, like,
Wrestlers are superhuman, so.
right.
But no, he was not taking he was taking all the risk he usually would, so it's obviously not. He's not scared. He's not scared of that, which I'm happy with. Like it's always interesting when you get a wrestler back from a significant injury, like to see if they'll. Like I was kind of curious with Seth. Like, is he gonna go up climb ropes at all? And sure enough, he's done it. He's maybe they understand that, but with Neville in particular, with his wrestling style, that's a kind of like a make or break.
Well, and that's the thing. Like
career.
Neville can't do. He needs to do what he's doing.
Yeah, he
you know what
can
I mean?
never be just a traditional wrestler, can he?
No, I don't think so.
He's Neville. He's gonna do Neville shit.
Right.
And I like the beard. It makes him look a little less creepy and elvishly. He's got an elven
related to Legolas.
Yeah, he is a very, very odd-looking human being.
Well, yeah.
Do you think they introduce a new belt? Do you think they do a CWC type belt or a cruiserweight type thing?
I would have to think so. Like if you're bringing a new division in,
And they did say that. They said they were doing it.
yeah.
Which we haven't seen any signs of yet. Now, granted, it's only been like a week, but it's early days. I can't wait to see that though. Throw some of the guys. I think this has to be it. They have to be waiting for the CWC tournament to be over.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what they're waiting for.
Before they introduce it into the main roster. And at that point, does that guy you think get the belt, or is there going to be another tournament on Raw to establish who that champion is.
I got to imagine that there'd be another tournament.
I feel like
just
there
have
needs to
think.
be. I mean, especially when you've got guys like Neville, who I think we talked about it before, but the fact like that guy should be spearheaded or pushed to the moon as being like the champion of the cruiserweights, like the guy that reinvigorates WWE's enthusiasm with cruiserweight wrestling. Like he should be like the face of that, and he's very deserving of it. Would you agree? I mean, other than that, who do you really have that you put that? It's not gonna be Sin Cara. He's I would honestly have said Kalisto if he was on the Raw roster, but Kalisto's on SmackDown.
Right.
It ain't gonna be Sin Cara.
I mean, Kalisto is just botch city.
Botch city. Botch city.
But yeah. So overall, the Raw was a great show.
No, it was, but no.
Then,
you didn't answer me. Like, is there anybody like cruiserweight wise that could even
cruiser wise? I mean, you could have
on the Raw roster.
I mean, nobody that's on the Raw roster right now.
Yeah,
Finn,
that's what
he's
I'm saying.
the only one that meets the weight. No, they're bringing it, dude. They're going to be bringing in at least a dozen people.
You think so? I mean, they have to, I guess. That's what they
have
to be
have
doing,
a
right?
Division, I guess they could bring in 6, but they're gonna have to expand quickly.
It's gonna be like the women's. They're gonna have 6 or 7, maybe 8, we'll say, actual superstars, and then it'll be jobber. On.
Maybe I don't know that's you can't have jobber matches in cruiserweights. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But you can. I mean, I guess you can feature more of just the guys they've been doing on the CWC, like with the luchas and all that. That style. Like bring Zack Sabre Jr. over. Zach, what is his name? Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr.
I've had a couple beers today. I'm sorry.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. But no, he's fucking tits, man. Like we need a good Englishman. We need a good English wrestler. Like let's do that. Why the fuck
Neville?
not? Yeah, but no, he's an elf. We don't like him. he's not. He doesn't count.
I'm just saying.
No, he's not good. He's not good. I definitely think it is. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. And I definitely think that Raw was a way better show than SmackDown the following night. Did you ever finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. I mean, it was so hard to live up to Raw.
It was a great show. I completely get it, but it was a really kind of weak show. You have to admit it, right? You know what I mean? Am I on my own?
I don't have to admit
it. No, you don't have to
admit it.
Are you not going to admit it, or you are going to admit it?
No, I'm not going to admit it because I will say it wasn't as strong of a show. I won't say it was a weak show.
I guess because of how good Raw was, I felt like they would have felt the need as a company to put out something exceptional for, because of the split and because it being live.
Also, our definition of exceptional is quite a bit different than a lot of people.
It's Sami Zayn KO. It's, I mean, that's what it is. But
SmackDown doesn't have the roster for it.
And that's one of the things I wanted to mention to you was, did you feel what I felt when at the beginning of the show, they had I think they pulled the whole roster out and they stood around the ring apron,
Yep.
It's like, okay, you're seeing the whole roster in one place for the first time. Holy shit, does that feel thin? Just looking at it, oh man, they obviously.
I mean, and there's only 4 or 5 more people on Raw than there is on SmackDown, but yeah, it does. But then again, at the same notion, Rhino came back.
That was a real pleasant surprise. I've never been a huge Rhino fan, but okay, you know what? That actually, I can see some cool shit happening with you and a few guys on that roster. really, really happy that you're
And he's
part
totally
of
down to be an enhancement to like put over
that.
the new guys
Exactly.
and make
He's
them
gonna
look
put
good.
over new guys and do what he needs to do.
Yeah, and then they announced Shelton Benjamin.
Now, okay,
whom
I want you to because you're gonna have to handle this because I don't know a single thing about Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin wrestled when I took my
When you were on your
10-year
dark
sabbatical in my dark years, we'll call them, from wrestling. So please, can you enlighten me and the audience to exactly who Shelton Benjamin is and why we need to be excited about this?
So Shelton Benjamin was an amateur wrestler as well. I don't know if he was an Olympic. He wasn't an Olympic gold medalist,
But like Kurt Angle, amateur, like Greco-Roman.
Correct.
Okay.
And he did win several championships, like I believe on the high school and collegiate level. So he's like a fantastic athlete. I want to say it was
black dude with blonde hair from the picture I saw.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't always had blonde hair.
Okay.
Sometimes he's had
he
blonde
fluctuates
hair.
on his bleaching methods.
I guess. But he in the early 2000s was when he was around.
I must have been right after I stopped. It must have been like right after because I don't remember.
He was part of the world's greatest tag team, which was Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, I want to say. And they were part of Team Angle. So it was Kurt Angle and those two guys, and they were like the Olympic caliber amateur wrestlers.
They were like Kurt Angle's protégés in a sense.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that is exciting. I mean,
it is exciting because I think that Shelton Benjamin is a perfect fit with American Alpha.
Good or usually a heel or a face? Like, what is he?
Either. But
either? He can do both?
Yeah, but I mean, usually, I know he had a heel run, but he was better as just that, like, high-flying, really athletic baby face.
Could be a cool face. Would he fit into the cruiserweight thing?
No. He's on Smackdown, first of all.
You're right. Yeah, damn it.
But no, like, I'm telling you, if they don't put him with American Alpha...
Oh, shit, you're right. That makes
like, it's just a wasted opportunity, in my opinion, because, like, we wanted Kurt Angle to come back and like, team with Alpha, right?
Well, he'd be. Imagine him in a suit next to the ring, like giving like wrestling advice, like telling, with American Alpha.
Exactly, and like doing training vignettes with those guys,
dude.
and like then doing matches to show him, like him doing matches and having those two on the outside to watch and see how he's see the things that he's doing.
So instead of using Kurt, maybe they're gonna go and they're gonna use Shelton Benjamin.
Kind of feels like that.
I almost called him Belton Benjamin.
Belton Benjamin?
Yeah,
yes.
No, totally. Yeah, that's. But I mean, I do think the Kurt's talked about this in tons of articles. Like the possibility, like he has a good relationship with WWE. He wants to come back to WWE. The possibility, I think, is there. It's just timing, like
right.
I think it'll happen. It's just we might have to wait a little bit, but. If they could, kind of form something with Shelton Benjamin and then, American Alpha and then Kurt Angle, maybe they reveal Kurt Angle as being like the genius behind it all. Like he was behind the scenes putting them all together and working with WWE staff to get American Alpha drafted. And like you could do so many cool angles with that.
Oh, totally. I see what you did there.
Hate myself sometimes, Duncan. I really do.
You just can't stop.
I think it is time though, unless there's anything else. I mean, we got this. I mean, SmackDown more or less, right? Like, what do we?
Stop. Two things. One, they're bringing back Backlash pay-per-view.
Oh fuck yeah. So this is what brand exclusive then?
Yeah, that's gonna be SmackDown brand exclusive.
So you think we're gonna have 2 a month?
We are gonna have 2 a month.
2 a month every month.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
It's going to make our job a lot harder.
Fucking A, dude. I
know.
I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm going to have to quit my job to watch wrestling. I think that is
No, we have to turn this into our job to get paid to watch wrestling.
That's right. I need to stop naysaying myself.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. No.
So
we're gonna have
two other
Backlash and what?
things.
So we're gonna have Backlash, SummerSlam in the same month.
Backlash is September 11th.
Oh shit.
So
That's
I-
okay.
there might just be one pay-per-view in August.
But September, they're gonna do probably the Backlash, and then they're gonna do
Right, because
What
SummerSlam-
else? What would be the next one then?
I don't. Hell in a Cell?
Sure. I'm sure
Dude,
there's a
dude,
couple of
they
wrestling
have-
fans
I
that are
mean,
yelling at us right now.
I'm sorry, I don't have the fucking pay-per-view
No.
schedule for
I'm okay not
2016
knowing
and
every
2017
fucking
memorized
part of
yet.
the schedule.
Nerds, fucking calm down.
But we'll have two essentially in September, is what you think?
Yeah, and like most months, I think the off months from the big four, you'll have 2 a month.
That's really cool though.
Right.
And then they were almost starting. I think they toyed with that, doing those exclusive, whatever the fuck they called them, the network exclusive pay-per-views. They did a couple of those.
Yeah.
Like,
feel
I
like
think
some
they
of
were
those
toying. Like that's maybe how they kind of got into the idea and how it would work.
Right.
So they've already proven that it's a,
That it's a successful idea.
Exactly.
So
That's my point.
not worried about that.
What else happened
second,
on SmackDown?
We got hashtag sign Heath Slater.
Oh shit, man! How cool did he look?
Right?
Way
Like, what the
cooler than
fuck?
he's ever looked ever.
Pretty much.
He actually had an era of a bit of grit to him. He had some, Heath, maybe a little pissed. Like, yeah, he went on his cheesy Heath Slater stuff, which is
Yeah, but he
what
had a
he's
little
supposed to
bit
do.
but he was layering the character a little bit.
I love it. I say like, I'll be honest with you, never been a huge Slater guy. Never been. I've always seen him as just kind of like that. Okay, yeah, you know your role. You're sort of okay on the mic,
You
but
shut your
annoying.
mouth,
You shut your
yeah.
mouth. You your job to a lot of people and do your job. Whatever. I'm all of a sudden interested in him.
Right. It's an interesting story, and it's an interesting from somebody that you didn't give a shit about a week ago.
Maybe he's just like that respected in the locker room or respected in the grand
He's been
scheme of
around
things.
for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the Nexus leader or something, wasn't he?
I know he was part of Nexus. I don't know.
And he wasn't a leader, but he was part of it.
I feel like Barrett was the leader.
Yeah,
of
Barrett
Nexus.
was the leader, but still,
and then
like there. And then there was the core. He was part of the core.
yeah, he was part of the core, and then he was part of a 3MB, the 3-man band.
Yeah. And then he became the one-man band.
Yep.
And then there were Social Outcasts.
Social Outcasts, and now it's hashtag sign Heath Slater. But honestly, I think that this could be what actually breaks him out a little bit.
And I kind of agree with you. I really like it too, because it's like, oh, all of a sudden, this dude that we give no shits about, we're all like, no, we're like, oh, no, look at this underdog. Look at this guy. Like, oh, poor Heath. Poor Heath. He got left out of the draft. And he's not respected. So he hopped the barricade and like ran into the ring.
Yeah.
Who then talked? What happened?
I can't, remember. Dude. Like I didn't write that down in my notes.
Someone came out and gave him a talking to, didn't they? I feel like Shane came out.
Yeah.
They're
turning it into a thing where it's like he's going to be kind of petitioning. I have a feeling that he's going to be on both shows,
which is kind of cool. And it kind of goes a little bit, but I mean, I think our idea from last week is way cooler. Having him like trying an audition for every group. Like 1 week he's trying to like be a part of the Wyatts, and next week he's trying to be a
part
member
of the
Ascension,
part of the club, and the Ascension. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
But if he's even doing like kind of the same thing and just pandering back and forth between the two brands, it's actually kind of funny. Like there's a way, like next week he's going to pop up and Steph's going to fucking like, yell at him. And
yep.
That I'm pretty okay with that. And I think at some point they're going to obviously have to like put him up against someone. Who's that guy? Who's the guy that
I don't know. Like, and that's going to really depend on
Does
if
he
he stays on Raw or if he like SmackDown. Because if the other two, like, dude, have a triple threat with the other two Social Outcasts. If he wins, he gets to be on Raw.
I think the smartest thing. Are they on? They're on the same roster, right? Bo
and Curtis Axel, yes.
The Raw.
Yeah.
Okay. See, it would have made better sense if they were separate, but it's kind of cool. Like if he can still do the same thing if he's pandering to the both of them. Like, hey, remember when I was still part of the team or whatever? And and they're just like, well, you're not like part of this,
but
and
you're not.
but you're not, and then you can sort of develop like I'd love to see like a Bo Heath Slater thing, like or even an Axel Heath Slater thing. Like those would be good, probably good matches.
Probably. I mean, but then let's talk about the elephant.
Our lives have devolved into talking about Bo and Heath Slater.
No. Our lives are about to devolve even more because.
Oh no.
So Dolph Ziggler, huh?
Oh yeah, that thing that happened. That. That was a thing, huh?
I like Dolph Ziggler.
I don't hate him.
But
with one super kick.
Yeah, you put down AJ Styles
on AJ
with one super kick,
which if I'm not mistaken, Duncan, you've been way more up to date with wrestling over the years than myself, but I feel like the super kick is kind of like it's a setup move now. Well, it's a setup move. It doesn't ever finish anyone now.
No.
Like that's a late kick out, right? Like that's a 1, 2 and kick out.
It's not even that. Sometimes it's barely a fucking 2 count anymore.
Yeah. See, and AJ.
Right.
AJ. Okay. Oh,
AJ.
Interesting.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
No, not. Hey, they hoodwinked us like we talked about before.
Yeah.
That was not something that we saw coming.
No, it was
kind
not,
of,
but it was also
I always like it when they kind of do that. I might not agree with it, but...
Yeah, but did you like that one? And I didn't even, look...
Like is the wrong word, for sure.
I don't even need AJ to, go... Because, look, I think that if you send Finn to the championship scene on Raw... and then AJ to the championship scene on SmackDown immediately, it's
brilliant. Then you have to watch both programs.
No, or it's too many.
You think it's too much too soon?
Faces.
Okay, all right.
And plus because they're gonna put the belt on AJ at some point.
No, your logic makes complete sense, and they absolutely will put the belt on AJ. For me personally, I think obviously we've got this match coming up that's going to be between AJ and Cena, so he's tied up. So let's not push him towards the belt with Ambrose. Honestly, Ambrose needs to keep the belt on him for a little while before he just, relinquishes it. Otherwise, his championship reign looks weak, and he looks weak in the process. He's finally got it. He needs to hold it for at least 3 months.
3 to 6.
3 to 6.
To be real.
That's what he needs to do. So that's why I feel like Dolph was thrown in there. There's no way in hell Dolph is taking the belt. I'm sorry. I love WWE, and I love that it can swerve me. There's no way they're doing that. There's just no way they're doing that.
No, there's not. But
that
also
monetarily doesn't make sense.
Also, I would rather have Dolph in that main event than Apollo Crews right now.
Oh, for sure. I'm glad they didn't I'm glad they didn't rush up a Corbin or a Crews. That would have been a huge mistake. I think it's interesting though that why couldn't they have even talking about the Dolph pinning AJ thing? Why couldn't, because of the feud that they had with Dolph and Baron Corbin? They were in the same match. Why couldn't it have been sort of an end justification for Dolph to pin Corbin and then get it? Wouldn't that have made more sense? Wouldn't, because... Or are they just scared of Corbin getting buried? He's not going to get buried. You push him down his face, our faces. He's always going to be a guy that we recognize that you guys like, and okay, well, just deal with it. There's seemingly no purpose for me to not do the same exact ending of the match with Corbin, not AJ.
Right. No, and that's kind of what I would have done. But once again, I don't book the matches. That's what. Yet, but I don't still.
I don't think we would even like it if we did it. We would get it would be too much. It's better just to talk about it, you know?
I think probably.
Yeah. You know what we should do before we get out of here? Because it is running long. It's longer than I thought it was going to be for the second episode.
Well, I mean, but there was so much to fucking talk about.
There really was. We had to do a lot of catch-up.
I had a pay-per-view to catch up on.
Pay-per-view, a Raw, and a fucking SmackDown. At least next week we'll just have a Raw and a SmackDown to kind of... Oh, it'll be easy peasy next week.
I mean, obviously.
But no, you know what we should do?
I think I do.
I think it's time for a little... It's like our first segment. It's like our homegrown segment for this show. It's time for the Turnbuckle Time Machine. It's the worst intro ever, I know.
No, it's great.
It's fine. I'm pretty excited because I got a story that I think I might have told you, but definitely our listeners are not going to be privy to. Now, Turnbuckle Time Machine is sort of like our earliest wrestling memories as human beings, Duncan, isn't that right?
I think it's pretty close to that, yeah.
Anything that relates to wrestling that we remember from both our childhoods and I think we each share a story every week with not only each other but with you, the audience. Mine this week is all about wrestling figures, Duncan.
Okay.
And forgive me because I think I have told you the story, but it was a while ago, and I think we were probably both, a little bit intoxicated. So you maybe I'll just refresh your memory up. Is that fair? Is that fair?
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. So I told you last week that my brother was the one that really got me into wrestling, right?
Right.
He was the guy who he was really into the wrestling figures. All right. And I'm not talking about the squishy ones. I'm not talking about the new style. I'm not talking about what were the buddies? The
wrestling buddies?
Nah, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the 4-inch figures. The plastic 4-inch figures. You remember them, right?
Oh, dude, I remember them well.
Were those those were your shit, right? Like those were the right age range when...
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Like I remember those coming out, like the 4-inch, the ones that had like the spring-loaded action of some type.
Oh, some of them did. Yeah, you push the back down on Marty Jannetty.
Right, and then some Jake the Snake had the power punch. Like
yes, you could you could pull his arm back, you could wind it up, and he'd kind of do like an uppercut.
No, well, there was that one. There was that one where like you pull the arms backwards and then they like spring forward.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah. No, it was more of a smash. Okay, it was like a smash on the head. You're right.
Exactly.
It was
and then there was one that was literally like you pull the arms straight back and it's just a straight punch forward.
I had I remember who was the Giant Gonzalez. Remember him?
I do, but
he had the biggest of all the wrestling figures because all the wrestling figures like 4 inches tall. This motherfucker's was like 6 inches, obviously, because he's the Giant Gonzalez, and he's all hairy and shit. And his figure was special though, because you could push down on the figure on his like feet, and it would make the arms move. Like he would like it was almost like a berserker thing. Like he'd push down on his feet, he'd do that.
Wow!
But it was the same line of figures. Did I ever tell you though about how my brother like almost he beat the shit out of me to gain the knowledge of what wrestling figures he was getting for Christmas one year?
I do remember this story. Yeah.
I didn't tell it last week, did I? What was my story?
No.
Okay, good. As long as I didn't tell it last week, that's fine.
No, definitely not.
So my brother, I was super little. I was probably like 6 years old, right? And my mom would obviously have to buy presents for a little kid to his brother, right? So like, my mom told me like, oh, you bought, Reese this particular thing, and like, she wrapped it for me, but it was my gift to my brother.
Your gift to your brother.
So my bro knew that, and he was really setting up. He's 5 years older than me, so whatever. He's like probably like 10, 11, and he's setting up his. This is serious, man. He's setting up his fucking battle royal for the weekend. Like he's got to know. He's got all his figures that he already has, but he's got to know, like, oh, man, I might be getting, like, a lot of surprise Royal Rumble entrances with my wrestling figures right now. Like I know I asked for this guy, asked for this guy, asked for this guy. Like I need to know who I'm getting so I can order and then put together the order of my lineup for my wrestling matches. And you know what I'm talking about. It's a kid playing with fucking wrestling matches. Well, he grabbed me, a little kid, he grabs me by the fucking neck and he pushes me up against the wall. He's like, I know you know. Who'd you get? Who'd you get? Who was it? Who was it for? Who'd you get for Christmas for me? Who'd you get? Like it was the Rockers. It was both of them. It was like the tag team like thing. I told him, and he let me go, and it was a real painful experience. Years down the line, like he's happy the next day. Nothing happens of it. Years down the line, Duncan, he's like, "Do you remember that time?"
That I almost murdered you.
They almost murdered
out.
you to find out. And he did. Like he's like 16, 17 now. Like, I'm like, yeah, I fucking vividly remember it, you asshole.
Dick.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry about that. Like,
well, good.
He made up for it, but
why you shove Marty and Sean up your dick hole?
I inherited those figures later, and that was the same Christmas that I got my first wrestling ring. That was I had a couple of my figures of my own, and my brother had a wrestling ring, but I got my own wrestling ring. And then he would steal my ring all the time too. So
what a bastard!
Fucking asshole. Anyway, you got a
I'll stick in the same vein. The first time I got when I got my very first wrestling figures, they were the same 4-inch ones, but they were like the earlier generation. You know what I mean? So like Sean and Marty were definitely there, but you also had like Boss Man.
Oh, I had
Macho.
the Boss Man. He had the nightstick. He had the nightstick.
Yeah.
You could put it in his hand. You'd always lose the nightstick too.
And you'd always lose Hacksaw's 2x4.
Fucking all the time. God.
All the time.
I had all
and
of
Brutus's them. And Brutus and Barber Beefcase shears.
Oh, the shears. Yeah, the rubber shears. The little. Yep, they were rubber.
And they were rubber, so you couldn't hurt yourself with them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I was in second grade when that was when those came out. And maybe even earlier, but I was definitely I had pneumonia and I was out of school for 2 weeks. So my grandma bought me the ring and like 8 or 10 of the figures for me to play with while I was homesick with pneumonia.
Fuck yeah, I'm gonna get sick more often.
Right. Well, I mean, it helped. Yeah, that's what I was like. Fuck yeah. But I did end up with like all of those figures for the longest time.
Like just what do you mean, like?
Oh, I had that first series. I had the second series. Like when they went away from that 4-inch model, though,
that's when I stopped.
That was when I stopped too, because it just like I was like, man, it's not the same, you know.
Dude, Papa Shango was my best, man. Like I love my Papa Shango.
I don't know that I ever had the Papa Shango.
Oh, I had a Papa Shango, and I had a Kamala. I had a Kamala.
Did you know that there's a Kamala with a star on it?
Oh, with the moon? Yeah, you gotta get the one with the moon.
No, you gotta hope you have the one with the moon.
That thing's worth bank, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I didn't have the good one. I had the one that everybody has. But
of course.
Talk about wrestling figures for 2 seconds while I grab a beer.
Oh, okay. I can talk about wrestling figures. So right now they're re-releasing all of the newer wrestlers of today's era in that classic 4-inch quote-unquote format. So you've got like the Kevin Owens and Brock Lesnar and I believe Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, but they're all in that sort of like short, stocky, hard plastic look.
They're close, but they're they're not the same.
They're as close as, well, it's also not 1989 anymore.
Yeah, but I would be just happy if they just did the old ones. Like, come on.
Well, then you're going to have to learn to live with your disappointment.
I'm okay with them. I'd like them more than the, I guess the traditional figures that they put out now. Like, I think they're kind of cooler looking. They definitely have a retro feel to them.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like they're definitely much more retro than then what? And I'm pretty sure that the company that originally put out those figures doesn't exist anymore. So it might not even be possible to fully recreate them that way.
What company was it? Do you even know? I'd have to look it up.
Know.
It wasn't like a Hasbro or something, was it?
I don't even remember,
I don't know.
dude. Like, it might have been Hasbro. It wasn't LJN.
No, and I don't think it wasn't like the new ones. What are they done by?
No, I don't know.
I don't even.
It wasn't Jack Pacific either, because those are the ones that did the old ones.
Yeah. I know those ones. Yeah. Dude, I think we've covered enough. I think we made a show happen. I think we made a show happen. What we need to go out on something cool. So like let's think of a good like tune that we can play here for the audience. I mean, it could be wrestling related. Like, give me.
What do you mean it could be wrestling?
I mean,
related?
it should be.
It should be wrestling
related. I mean, we could think of a good theme here. Like, we need an outro. Like, maybe we'll eventually.
We do need an outro. Did you know that I have that on Record Store Day last year? They put out a dual vinyl release of the wrestling album and Pile Driver, the WWF 8.
No shit.
From the 80s. Yeah, and I had Ty pick one up at Park Ave because they didn't have them at fucking Rock and Roll Heaven where I went.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah, I have them, and they're on clear red and yellow vinyls, respectively.
All right. Well, I'll look that up. We're going to figure out our outro for this show. And if you have any suggestions, please do. But for tonight, I think I got what we need for tonight.
Is it the DX theme?
It's not. It's for you, buddy.
Okay.
It's for you, just for you. And it's for all our listeners who need to go over to onowrestling.com, and they need to go over and find us and like us on Facebook. Ono Wrestling has a Facebook page. Please go ahead and like it, and that's where you're going to, get all the updates. We're working week by week, and we have got a cool new logo that we're going to be sharing with you soon. And the site will continue to develop. And trust me when I think we can say with all honesty, Duncan, I think we're doing this every week, right? Like this is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just stick with us. We know it's not the best right now. Oh, sorry, that's not the song. But at the end of the day, this has been another edition of Ono Wrestling. We implore you to keep listening and join us on this journey that is the wonderful world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I've been Owen.
And I am Duncan.
And we are certified G's, yo. I think that's...
Certified P, certified podcaster.
And bona fide studs? Something?
Bona fide plugs.
Smack Talker Skywalker's over here. We're out for the evening. We love you. We'll talk soon. See you next week.
A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid. I'm hard as nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part